Okay, you're alive. Okay, cool. Yay! I made it, I made it, I made it. Yes! Okay, so today we're going to talk about trusting your intuition, and I'm going to give some samples and examples per sign. Hi, let me start off. Spiritual coach Ari Mac. I use spiritual astrology, affirmations, aromatherapy to help people connect to their higher power. Now, the stars are going to affect you either way. Having a cheat sheet or some insight is always a blessing. And I think of myself as a forecaster, just an energy forecaster to give you some spiritual insight, some gnarly astrology information. Uh, I encourage you to affirm because affirming is good for you. And of course, aromatherapy, which, I think it should be a part of your day to day anyway, because you got to eat, right? So don't you want to eat something that's good for your body instead of eating something that may bring you down? So today I want to talk about um, just my personal thoughts on this energy, and I'm going to go by element and I'm going to go by zodiac sign. Okay. And I'm going to try to give some examples, some pitfalls. I'll try to sprinkle this smorgasbord so wherever you are, whenever you hear this, you can pick up on some new information every time that you listen to this episode. Deal? Okay. Give me a thumbs up if that's cool. Give me a thumbs up if you want to have this information. Give me a thumbs up if you're good. You can put it in the chat. Okay. All right. So, we have 12 signs, Aries through Pisces. Okay. Well, we have 10 planets. Okay. And each of those planets rules a specific energy. And each of those signs rules a specific theme, not, well, a task. Their energy governs certain parameters. When you put all this together, you make up our psyche, our mental state, our emotional states, and everything in between. It's like your bones, your actual bones that you have for your body. Your bones hold everything up, and all it is structure. And that's what astrology starts off being. It's just a structure idea of when you came down, the planets were in a certain alignment, and here's where they fell, right? That's pretty simple. But as you become more aware, that's your maturity, and you start growing, you start noticing there's information and energies that sometimes that just cannot be explained. Let's be honest, it just cannot be explained. Those energies, you guys, is where the energy around us, the universal flow, keeps us moving or not, depending on your choices. So what I've done over the last 15 years as a intuitive astrology reporter is I put down notes, and I'm in the process of writing a book. And of course, I have you guys that I work with and programs that I've developed that are here to strengthen that intuition, because all of us have it. All of us have some intuitive, I call it GPS, God Protective Services. Okay? We all have it. Now, to the degree of how we use it, it just depends on you, your circumstances, and your situations. For example, if you have a lot of trauma in your life early on, that trauma may didn't give you a chance to develop your finger skills or your touch skills or your listening skills or how you see things, both figuratively and mentally and psychologically as well. So, what you want to do, right, is you want to work on this insides and all that dialogue that's going down. Because that dialogue, you guys, is what's making or breaking you moving forward. Now, when you look at the signs and the elements, and I'm going to go through them and then I'm going to break some stuff down. Okay. And if you have a question, you can put it in the chat and I'll try to answer it before I end the broadcast today. There? Okay. So, for example, with Earth, that's Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. They're the Earth trilogy. They actually rule the Earth. No game, no BS, no bullshit. They actually rule the physical planet. They are tasked with the responsibilities of the physical building, the actual earth being taken care of, the physical nurturing of our bodies. They embody the actual physical aspect of our beings. Okay? And then each of those signs is ruled by that planet. And when you mix those up, and I'm not going to go into that today, I'll just give you synopsises and, come to one of my programs and one of my seminars and I can help break it down a little bit more. But basically, when you mix those energies up, the different planets with the different signs, that makes up how we intuitively pick up on things. Okay. So, for example, for my Tauruses, they're ruled by Venus, which is love. And I mean, I love Taurus. My grandma was a Taurus. I've never had a bad experience with Taurus. I mean, Taurus men try to like push up on me real hard sometime, and I got to say, hey, we ain't in prison. Not just, you know what I mean? But they're very solid and very loving. Okay. But they need to be loved. That they act better when you love them. I mean, even if they don't say it out loud, they really appreciate like a hug or a kiss on the cheek, or holding hands. They are suckers for that stuff. And if you really want to get to them, buy them some silk or some nice fabrics. Their skin's very sensitive, so they really don't like cheap shit. That's the nicest way I can say it. So just that's Taurus. Then we got Virgo. Virgo's precision because they have that intellectual because they're ruled by Mercury. Okay, Mercury likes to chit chat. Yeah, I know, Miss Olivia. I got you. Okay. They have to be able to do some form of that, but through the earth side. So they're like the computers, they're like the proficient people that walk around keeping things organized and clean, okay, and setting things up. And they just need some sort of service. They just need to be in some sort of service. They came down with the intent of keeping things moving, keeping things moving. And I'm not going to go into another aspect of it because I don't want to confuse the shit out of you guys, but we're going to keep it simple today. So with Virgo, their precision. Okay, they have to be doing something. They rule Mercury, but they're the Earth side because remember they share that with Gemini, which we'll touch upon in a little bit. So with the Virgo energy, it has to be some place of service. They're the best moms, and I'm all talking at the high regard when they're actually functioning and mature. If you know some that are not, I'm not speaking to that right now. Okay, so when Virgo becomes a mom or becomes of service in a way that makes them feel good, they shine. There are researchers. They'll break something down to the ittiest, bittiest, tiniest, because that's what they do. They're looking for perfection, not in themselves, but in the world. And that's what they try to govern is helping us stay in that balance. Then we got Capricorn. Capricorn rules accomplishments. They actually rules the actual like let's make it happen. Like Earth starts it, Virgo sets it all up. Well, Capricorn wants that success. They want that structure. They want that money. Okay. And they actually get better as they get older because they rule old age. So if you know some Capricorns, they act like they're old souls or, kind of feel like they are more mature, they should be in a different position or you should respect them. That's the Capricorn energy. They need to be in some place of authoritarian, something where they are governing something because that's what they rule. They're like the captains of the ship. Yeah. Okay. Don't forget to hit me some hearts and hit me some loves and some gifts, guys. I'd appreciate any and all love. Welcome. All right. So that's my earth. Okay. And then they have different elements within that, but I am not going to go into that right now because I don't want to drive y'all crazy. All right. Thank you, Abby. Thanks. So then we go into water. Water. That's my Pisces, my Cancers, and my Scorpios. Guess what element they rule? Can you say it with me? Water, water, water. Emotions. Yeah, they're the intuitive side of us, the spiritual side, and they pick up on energy even when they don't want to. And a lot of times they're very, very gifted on insight. Whether or not they trust their intuition, that depends on them. Once again, whatever happened to you as a child, whatever you've seen, those play factors into how you use your intuition. But with the water signs, they naturally can just tune in to what's going on around. Now, how they choose to deal with it, totally different set of circumstances. But they do have the ability to feel your energy. They're very empathic people. And it's just a natural gift they came down here with. Okay. Now they keep us in compassion because their whole thing is I want everybody to have a little and I want us all to be okay. Because no water sign, a true water sign, would like to see anyone suffer needlessly. It's just not a fun thing. Okay. That's my water. Then we got the fire. Now that's Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. What do you think they rule? I give you one guess. Anybody? All right. Next time I'll make you guess. Action. Action. Taurus rules the practical side, water rules the emotional side, and fire is all about that action, baby. They're the ones that will get in there and start the blaze or make something happen or make a decision and follow through. They are action, sometimes to their detriment because they don't know when to stop sometimes. Right now, once again, it's all factors of how you were reared and the people that you connect with. Okay. So basically, in a nutshell, oh, thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you. And basically, in a nutshell, when you're dealing with fire, when they say you deal with fire, you get burned, they ain't no bullshit. They're hot tempered, their emotions are on their sleeves. If they're a true fire, they're going to tell you exactly how they feel and then they're going to walk away from your ass or beat you up. There's just there's no in between. Their action, they have to initiate, they have to do something. They cannot sit on the sidelines or not initiate in any way, shape, or form. And if you find a fire sign that has had their fire put out, please love them because that is not their normal state. Or talk to them to find out what happened. Because with that actions, we have actual initiations. People actually get out and physically pick up the trash. Yeah. We actually clean out our closets. Yeah. We actually take those clothes once they've been picked out to a place and dispose of them properly, be a donation and or throw it away. Okay? So energetically, you guys, energetically, if we want to, we can make a lot of great things happen with that fire. But we have to be ready to do that. Have to be ready to do that. Because fire is not no game. Once you start a fire, it's going to go. And we can't slow it down. Okay? We can't slow it down. Nor should we slow it down. So, energetically speaking, okay, when we're looking at fire, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius, we look at the different elements that they rule. Now, Aries is ruled by the planet Mars. Okay? That planet rules war. Okay, so they like to battle. They like to move things forward. If you know any Aries, they just are hot little temperate little things, unless they can mature a little bit more, and then they have to like move through like whatever energy they've created. But they're the starters. They just get in there. Ah! Then we have our Leo. Leo, is like the king of the jungle. Okay, just like Taurus has their certain things they do. Leo's the same way. Okay, and that they're both fixed signs. I'm not going to go into that today. I'll go into another episode, or when you guys come to my seminars, join me. But that Leo energy rules by the sun, so it's our egos. Yeah. So action, ego, put that together. Fire rules action. Leo rules our heart and our egos and children, because our children are reflections of our insides. So we got fire and ego being together. Holy moly. I mean, goodness gracious, fire with an ego. Do I need to say more? My dad was a Leo, and that man had a lot of fire. At least I saw it. I mean, maybe not the rest of the world, but I saw it. So, energetically, Leos are just about that, hey, and walking in a room and owning it. Okay. And then we have our Sagittarius. Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. So it's got a lot of expansion to it. It wants to learn, it wants to grow. Um, One of the greatest comedians of all time, in my opinion, Richard Pryor, was a Sagittarius. And he took the energy of a terrible childhood. And his childhood was verified, you guys. It wasn't something he made up. I mean, his mom was a hoe, his dad was the pimp, and the grandmother was the madam. And they all lived together in harmony. You don't think that would screw a kid up? And, for him to come through that and then become a brilliant comedian, wow. But he couldn't stop. His energy couldn't stop because, once again, fire, action, initiate. So with the Sagittarius energy, they rule more of like the intellectual action part of what we do, because they're going to think about it and do it. They're the learners. They're the ones that's going to write everything down and or make sure it's recorded, because they do have a certain ethic about expanding knowledge and expanding information. So, my mom is a Sag. Being raised by a Sag, you guys, are some different things. They were all fire. And my mom and dad got along great when they got along. But you know how it goes when things don't work out. So, and she always encouraged expansion of my mind. She refused to let me go down silly pathways. Um, she was just one of those moms that just didn't pull no punches. Now, at the time it was happening, I'm not gonna lie to you, she was rough. She was rough. She did not mince words at all. But I thank her for it now. But when it was happening, I go, damn it, I'm still a human being, mom. And she go, well, act like it. And I was like, shit. Because she could just, with your words, just, that's the other thing fire can do. They can take your words and up, okay? Then we go into our air. Now, air is our Geminis, our Libras, our Aquarius. They rule our intellectual, philosophical, uh, ethical energies. Okay, they're the thinkers, the lawmakers. They sit down and write everything out, and it sounds good on paper. Because Libra wants balance, Aquarius wants insight and freedom. Okay, and Gemini just wants to know everything. Because Gemini is ruled by Mercury. Libra is also ruled by Venus, so that's Gemini. Mercury shares Mercury with Virgo, but it's the air side of it. And then you have Venus that rules Libra, that also rules Taurus. But guess what? Libra is the air sign of the Venus aspect. So it's very intellectual, it's very mentally stimulating. And then of course, we have our Aquarius. Now, Aquarius is ruled by the planet of Uranus. Unexpected changes. The planet operates on its own. It's a big planet, but it's further out. It's not one of the biggest. Jupiter is the biggest. But the thing about the Aquarius energy is that it's fixed. And you can't see or predict what they may or may not do. They rule surprises. Let's put it like this: when the planet of Uranus was actually found, because they used to share signs and planets, electricity was also found that same year. And that's how Aquarius is. They're everywhere, they're all around us, but we just can't see them, but we can feel their influence because they actually rule humanities. Humanities. That's pretty cool, huh? So when you look at your intuition, and we're going to start off, let's just say, with a fire sign: Aries, Sagittarius, or Leos. You have to remember your first instinct is probably correct. Probably correct. But you got to learn to reinforce that with confidence because it needs to come in a way that you'll understand. Okay, fire? So if you have to take a deep breath for a few moments and just take in, that action that you're about to take, just literally just breathe. 5 seconds. 5 seconds. Anybody can take 5 seconds to take a deep breath. For you, fire, it could actually make the difference between you're going really, really, really left or really, really, really right. Because you need to find that balance before you take that initiation. Otherwise, your intuition is going to take over. And hey, there ain't nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. If you and your intuition are good and you trust yourself, then I say go for it. A good way to start strengthening yourself, because the pitfall with you is that well, you can make a really big mess of things because you're so busy doing what you have to do that you actually forget to do what you need to do, action. So you'll throw yourself off course because you're so obsessed with, whatever whip ass program you got going, rah, rah, woo, woo. And so it's important for you, okay, fire sign, to do something with action. Action. Now that's when the earth could come in. Yeah, the earth could come in because check it out. When you are grounded, fire, you can actually initiate more because you're centered. Your being is on a solid ground. Where earth can come in to do that for you, but remember, earth, okay, is going to need you not to beat them up because earth is the physical aspect. Fire is the action. So that means they have to learn how to blend. That could be a challenge. It could be done. I've seen it successfully done. I mean, it's not a horrible thing. I'm just talking about aspects. Okay. But like internally, if someone does have a lot of fire and a lot of earth and they don't know how to balance it, they may be in turmoil, like internally they know what they should do, but should they do it? I mean, it's like the dialogue, you know what I mean? So it's just important to know that about yourself so that you can know that's your process. That's how you deal. That's how you flow through. Now, as you become more aware, that's where your intuition kicks in. You can trust yourself more because you'll be in tune and alignment but this is how I do things. This is okay. All right. You know, like for me as an example, I have a lot of fire and I have a lot of water in my chart. So I'm very intuitive and very action oriented. So I have to blend those two. And my way of blending them was making candles and the work that I do, because the liquid is going to turn, I mean, the candle's going to turn into liquid, and there's the fire, so there's the water. I'm working with intuitive energy every day. Okay. And I'm being guided within to just do as I'm being asked, no more, no less. And for me, just discovering this hidden talent, because I didn't think of it as a big deal, but I was around a person at a very young age that made me feel very comfortable and confident with what I would pick up. So you can train that muscle. Okay. And that's what we do at Candles by Ari. And the new program I developed it called the GAP program, Guided Astrology Program. And once you start getting into that rhythm and listening to yourself, you start gaining more confidence that whatever you're saying or doing, you're coming from a place of purity. Even if it's wrong, it's okay, because you know that you made the best choice at the best time. That doesn't mean you can't grow. See, that doesn't mean you can't move on and to greener pastures and actually do better than you've ever imagined. So energy begots energy, guys, but we have to know thyself. And that's not a saying, that's some real talk. That's some real talk. Know thyself, because if you know thyself, as you bring in love, as you bring in more success, as you bring in, more light, and then things are going to change. Children are going to grow up. You may move. You may decide you don't want to do the same things you used to do. That's development. That's evolution. You'll be doing it with authentic self, authentic self, which is the true self, the best version that you are at that very moment in time. Authentic self. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to stay there 100%. Doesn't mean you want to slip slide down the wall of information. Some days will be better than others. But I assure you, when you start focusing more and more on this intuition, this GPS that Spirit gave us, God protective system, life becomes less frustrating, less taxing, because you're no longer trying to live in this, I don't know, book. I want to know where the book is. There's this book that said you have to do this and do that and do this. It's a bunch of bullshit. Okay. Yes, if you want to follow it, that's your business. Good luck, not an issue. But if you intuitively are not in balance with that, that's not going to work for you. It's not going to work for you. You can try. And I see people all the time. Example, my daughter just started back with college. And I'm watching, because I drop her off sometimes, not sometimes, not all the time. And I was over there this morning, and my goodness gracious, you could see the students that were like, fudge, I'm back, right? And you can see the ones just like, hey, because they actually want to be there. So, I could see the levels, and I just started giggling, because I remember going back to college, and I was like, whew. And I could say, because I never stopped working. I worked my way through college. So for me, there was no vacation. There was always just a consistent flow of stuff I had to get done to stay ahead of what I needed to have happen. But just, seeing the different levels of fatigue and knowing they just started back, I just chuckled to myself, because I know that in a few years, this is going to be nothing when they have to carry responsibilities, and they're responsible for themselves and whatever it is they want to have, be it car, home, family, all that stuff. You got to be responsible for how you're going to finance it, how you're going to manage it. Okay. So that's when you start looking at the different elements in your chart, because it'll tell you how you like to manage things. Like right now in the heavens, we have more fire signs in the planets than anything else. Well, that's why we're initiation. That's why we are pushing through. Mercury just went into Virgo. So, the sun's in Virgo, Mercury's in Virgo, which is natural placement. So this is a good time for you to start communicating your needs, your wants, desires, where you're trying to go. I mean, and start with just, journaling. I started journaling. This is actually my journal. Journaling with Ari Mac. Hi, journaling with Ari Mac. Okay, I know it's backwards there. And you get this on Amazon. And I sit and I write down every single thing that I do. I have a whole synopsis of information, insight, just wow. Wow. Even now when I look at it, I'm just blown away because it's like your history. You can actually see where your goals started and where they are now. I mean, it's journaling. It's one of those things that you take for granted, but it can keep you very grounded. Mm. Sorry, you guys need my water. I hope you guys are drinking your water too. Okay, so let's look at the water trilogy and how to use your intuition there. That's my Pisces, my Scorpios, my Cancers. Okay. Yes, you rule water, but depending on whatever else is in your chart, like right now with all this fire, you're feeling like you got to keep moving. You may be even be feeling like you're being pushed, uh, water, because you are. You are. There's not a lot of dreaminess. This is initiation. Neptune, which rules Pisces, is in Aries. Okay, that's a fire sign. Okay, then we got Jupiter in Cancer. That's giving you a little bit of water there, but it's expanded because it's in a fire sign. Okay, so and then Pluto's in Aquarius, so it's mm, Pisces energy needs to stay on top of their game, and when they don't have anything else to give, stop. Because the over analytical stuff will make Pisces go swimming up and downstream, and it gets crazy. It's crazy. I've seen it. I am one. It's not pretty. Okay. While Cancer, because it's ruled by the moon, okay, may go through periods of like, okay, I got it, I got it, I got it, depending on what's in their chart, and then all of a sudden have 1 or 2 days where they just feel like they don't have anything, and everything's just complete poo poo, and they're so upset, and they just want to shut down, and everybody can go to hell, and because they're ruled by the moon. Well, the moon changes signs every 2 days, 2 to 3 days, depending on the year. So their energy is going to shift more. That's why people think cancers are moody. I don't think there's so much moody as you just need to make sure you checked in. Did they eat? Did they get some nourishment in them? Because they rule the stomach too. So that's the other thing. The emotions there go into their stomach, so they can pick up on things. And unless they know how to handle it, it can become very overwhelming to Cancer water baby, because they literally are like the moms and dads of the zodiac. They really, really are. They're like nurturing. They also rules the chest and the breast, not the heart. The heart's ruled by Leo. Don't get it confused. Come to one of my seminars, I'll break that down a little bit more. But the thing with cancers, they don't stop. That hard shell, if you think about a crab or any of the crustacean family, their outside is but their inside is delish. And I think that's a great analogy for the Cancer sign. They can be very hard, very, very hard, but delicious on the inside, just delish. So, you never know. You never know. Okay. And then we go into Scorpio. Scorpio is also a water sign. It's ruled by Pluto. Pluto. Now, they've had debates about Pluto being a dwarf planet and whether or not it's a planet. It's a planet. It's got a sign. It's a planet. I'm going with that. Okay. Now, it rules the underworld, sex, taxes, investigation, research, anything behind the scenes. Scorpio want to pull that back because they want to understand. They want to understand. And sometimes they can be very emotionally, you know, challenging because they do want to probe, and you can feel their energy when it's probing you. You can. You just feel like, because they're investigative, you know. And with Pluto being in Aquarius right now, they're very sharp, and their intellect is very, very, very. So if you're dealing with Scorpio energy, it's better just to be honest and keep it simple. Don't overdo. Don't overthink. Don't talk too much shit. That's all I'm gonna say. Because easily, very easily, Scorpio will remember what you said because they have a memory like a steel trap, and they will bring it up again. Yeah. And Scorpios, let me just say, I love you to pieces, but you guys got memories for like eons. And I think you guys have invented the original like curse shit because y'all can be very mean. I have not experienced it personally, nor do I ever want to, but I have seen when Scorpios lose it, and it is not a pretty thing at all. So that type of energy, it's fixed, it's emotional, it wants to know what's going on underneath. So if you're gonna get involved with the Scorpio, make sure you're truthful. The weather's changing, and my allergies have been acted up, so I had to take a decongestant, and it always dehydrates me. I just don't do drugs. I don't do drugs. Okay, so if you're gonna step to a Scorpio, please keep in mind that they will take you very, very seriously. They expect you to do what you say you're going to do. I mean, it's with anyone, but I'm just saying for them, the emotional side is don't play with me. Don't play with me because they are very much like very sincere when they become vulnerable. Dang, it's common throat. It could be very, you know, it's challenging when you don't keep your word. I think it's challenging in general. With Scorpios, you need to make sure you're keeping your word or explaining because their intuitive side will pick up on what you're putting down. So just put down some good stuff. All right. So when you start to understand, I think I did the fire, I think I did the air. Did I do air? I know I did earth. I think I haven't done air. You guys let me know in the chat that if I missed one, but I think I haven't done air. I think air is the one that's left. And that's my Libras, my Geminis, and my Aquariuses. Did I do that one? It's okay. We'll do it again. They rule the air trilogy. That's our intellectual boundaries, what's going on in here, our internal understanding. Gemini actually rules communication itself. They rule by Mercury as well, share with the planet Virgo, but they're the air sign of it. So Geminis just want to know. It's the symbol of two people. And they can be very much like that if they do not have other stuff in their planets. When it has a high regard, they're brilliant. They can see all sides of the story and just bring everything together. It's quite fascinating. Okay, so just saying, that's a good aspect. Um, Libras, they're ruled by Venus, so they want it nice. They want it not coarse. They don't want to argue, so they just want to be good partners, treated fairly, being respectful, because they actually rule justice. When they say justice is blind, I have a theory about that, but I won't share on this episode. But there's a theory I have about certain things about Libran energy that I think brings balance to our world. But it's too advanced, and I'm not going to go into it today. And then we have the Aquariuses. Yeah, I think I did go over this one, but it's okay. We'll do it again. Uranus. Uranus? Uranus. I can make fun of them because I have a daughter this one. Anyway, they are quirky characters. Uranus is its own thing. It marches to its own beat. It may not listen to what you say, but they will show integrity if you treat them respectfully. And a lot of times they're more observant than you think because their intuition comes from absorbing what's happening around them. They actually intellectually look and see what's going on around and look for patterns and stuff because they're very much like a Spock. Remember Star Trek? Remember Star Trek? Except I have to be honest, I got to upgrade that. I think Aquariuses are a Spock from the old episodes, and then that wolf dude, I don't remember his name. He's a Klingon, okay? He's a Klingon. I don't mean no disrespect. I think he's a combination of those two. Because when you get into dealing with Uranus energy, it's so unexpected. You do not have a heads up. They can either pop up and be magnificent or scare the complete bejesus out of you. Either way it goes, they're not gonna back down per se. They may sidestep some things because they're fixed. So once they make their mind up, it's pretty gosh darn hard to change their minds. I mean, they get very and and they just and it's okay. So trusting your intuition, it's an art. It's an art. And I have spent over 15 years studying this art and how it affects people and how they move through. I've done over 500, probably more than that, more like 1,000 charts. And there's just certain things that just always ring true. But I'm speaking from a spiritual astrology standpoint, how to keep your soul moving toward where you want to be. Listen, the planets are going to affect us whether you know it or not. So I would suggest you follow and like, subscribe, and check out my programs. Because I got programs starting at $9.99 and then less than $30 a month for continuous information, which is the key, guys. Because if you knew better, you would do better. That's the theory. That's what I'm going to go with. I've seen it. Once you look at something and you see it again, and then you realize what you're looking at, because the human mind's a very interesting thing. Very interesting how we process information. And depending on your elements, earth, water, fire, air, and your sign, 12, okay, and then your personal theme, you may be counteracting yourself. You may be working against yourself and not even realize it because it's just been ingrained in you to do things a certain way because that's what we do. And you're like, but why do we do it? Because that's what we do. That is there a special reason that something happened? We said that's how we do it. And then you're like, okay. Alrighty then. I'm gonna leave this alone. And you have a nice day. Because legit, they sometimes when people are very stuck in their ways, and that could happen more so to fixed sign, sun sign folks, but it can happen to anybody. I'm not gonna exclude them. My fixed signs are my Tauruses, my Scorpios, my Aquariuses, and my Leo. Each one of them represent an element. And each one of them have the potential to be incredible leaders because they do have a drive, they do have an ambition, and they work. When they're in their high regard, those four signs will put out more work in less time because they can be that proficient once they understand the scenario. That's energy and inspire others because sometimes just doing it is one thing, but when you get a momentum going and everybody's working together, oh man, it is a beautiful thing. Beautiful thing. So we want that energy. That's what we're shooting for. We want positive energy. We don't want no dumb shit. Something that just angers for no reason. It's like, stop. Stop. And sometimes, guys, that's what you have to do. You have to have healthy boundaries. Yep. Because in theory, you can think one way, but if you being treated totally disrespectfully, you can feel it. You can feel it. Nobody has about it. You know that they're saying one thing and then they treating you in a different way. And that's also being honest with yourself that maybe you don't dig it. Maybe it's not your cup of tea. Maybe other people dig it, but for you, not so much. I'm just saying. Because you want energy that's going to make you stronger, make you better, um, move you up, right? You shouldn't be torn down by people around you. I mean, no, especially your inner circle. Your inner circle should be your top-notch people that there is a respectful exchange of energies that is mutually beneficial because you care and you respect and honor each other. That can be in the form of a marriage, a partnership, businessship, friendship, because that's special, you guys. To have somebody has your back no matter what and will stand with you. How many of us today can say we have that? I'm very fortunate. I do have that. Are you? Just think about it for a second. Do you feel fortunate and blessed? Are you feeling how yuckies and blah, 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 okay? Well, what I've done on my company, and if you look at my bio somewhere, wherever we are, I got some free information for you because learning thyself is the beginning of understanding who you are and how you operate. And I'm not talking from stuff from the past. I'm talking about currently what your ass is doing because that's where you're at now. You can't do anything about the past. You can learn from it, you can bless it, and hopefully don't repeat it if it was something that was sour. but also learning from it makes you better the next round. You can come in like, "Ah," instead of what's happening, what? Okay. And that's learning yourself, understanding your temperament, paying attention to your sign, listening to your intuition. All these things build confidence that will serve you so well when you truly need it, because you're exercising that muscle. You're giving that muscle a chance to get stronger, And that's what this is about, getting stronger, learning how to use your abilities, manifesting what you're asking for, and not allowing crazy shit to drive you nuts. And sometimes it is just nuts. Sometimes you just got to go, okay, signing off and just give it to spirit. Legit. That's why you got to do the aromatherapy. That's why we create the candles by Ari. And it ain't for everybody. I get that. But aromatherapy with a message, because the affirmations that are on the candles work. They work. If you actually are listening to yourself and doing your affirmations on a regular, smelling something, I say candles by Ari, but whatever your jam is, you can create certain neutrons in your brain to start looking for that which you're asking for. Yeah, your super subconscious mind starts seeking. So if you're saying dumb shit to yourself, it's going to seek more dumb shit. Yeah. But if you're actually reinforcing yourself with some positivity, some reinforcements of, hey, I don't need to do that anymore. I learned that lesson. That's already moving toward a better place, because your mindset is no longer trying to go towards the fire just because it's a fire and you're used to it. Oh, that's the way it is. Nothing changes. It's choice. Do you want to change, or do you like where you are? It's okay if you like where you are, but get comfortable there and don't complain, because that's where you are. Things can change, but you need to work through that. You know what I mean? So, the energy that we are carrying within us is extremely important. Learning how to take care of this beautiful vessel, your physical being, your mental being, your spiritual being, should be of the highest priority. You do not need to come in and be just beat down, jumping up, just getting up and falling down. Come on, guys. You got to do more effort. You got to train. You got to get better in the game if you want to. If you want to. That's a whole nother level in the game. So you got to decide. I'm going to take a deep breath and drink some water. Mhm. You got to decide, how do you want to manifest? And how are you going to listen to your intuition? How are you going to do it? Because this is the moments right here, guys, where your intuition has a chance to be heard and you got a chance to start strengthening that connection. Look at the elements in your chart, your natal chart, birth chart, like when you're born, and see which elements dominate and which planets are in each sign. There's a lot of information online that can give you some basic information. So take it, enjoy, okay? Because energy right now, that's the most precious commodity we have. And learning how to balance your energy, that's the gift that keeps on giving. What do they say? Teach a man to fish. I mean, give a man a fish, he eats for a day. I'm gonna change that to person. Give a person a fish, they eat for the day. Teach them how to fish, and they eat for the rest of their lives. That's pretty powerful. So here's what we're gonna do. You're gonna try to pay more attention to your intuition. I gave you a couple different elements. You can look at this again. This will be on YouTube. And breathe. Just breathe and slow down. And treat yourself with the kindness that you would treat a stranger. And don't beat up on yourself. Agree to do better. All right, this is spiritual coach Ari Mac, manifesting with Ari, YouTube and TikTok, Candles by Ari. Thank you for joining me today. And remember, you are blessed. Bye. Okay.